Good evening, everybody. It is 7 p.m. Today is Tuesday, October 28th. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Dr. Finch, any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
All right, communications, response to public comment.
Maybe before you proceed, you might want to excuse Director Steve.
Okay, we will. All right, would somebody like to make a motion to excuse Mr. Wolcott?
I'll make the motion to excuse Mr. Wolcott.
All right, we have a motion to excuse Steve Wolcott from tonight's meeting. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Now we'll go on to communications now. Dr. Finch?
Very good. First, we have response to public comment. So, at the school board meeting on October 14th, a staff member shared concerns about the Instructional Materials Committee procedures and asked the school board to reconsider the procedures so that staff members can serve as parent representatives to the committee. Also, a parent asked the school board to consider the addition of a middle school auditorium to the bond project so that middle school concerts can be held in an auditorium. He explained that currently middle school concerts are held in the middle school gym and the junior high band concerts are held at the high school auditorium because the junior high auditorium is too small. And here's the response to public comment. Regarding the Instructional Materials Committee, RCW 28A 320-230 provides the legal parameters for the composition of the Instructional Materials Committee. Parent members must equal less than 1/2 of the total membership of the committee. For West Valley, there's a pool of members, and for the voting members, there are 9 representatives for the professional staff and 8 representatives for parent members. The current composition ensures that the perspective of school staff is represented on the committee and the perspective of parents who are not school staff is represented on the committee. And the school board has noted the request for reconsideration. Regarding the middle school auditorium, the school board will consider adding a middle school auditorium to the bond project. This will be included in the discussion item at tonight's meeting. The addition would increase the bond from $92.5 million to $97.5 million. That concludes the public comment. There will be discussion about the middle school auditorium later in the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Finch. High school ASB.
Very good. We have Katie Champion here this evening. She's the representative to the school board, senior here at West Valley High School, and she's going to provide the ASB report.
Is the
Oh.
report on here?
We can, if you'd like to read that.
Okay. I'm sorry. I should have checked before.
No. We have it right here.
Okay.
Just quickly, we'll do that. And then we have school board meeting. And we have ASB report right here. Oh my goodness, it keeps jumping to for me. Don't know why it's jumping. Here we go. Just go slowly up here. High school ASB report. Open link.
Okay.
Presentation mode is. Well, I guess that's pretty
That might
good.
be okay. Yeah.
And then you can just scroll down.
Yeah.
Just scroll down here.
Okay. That'll work. Okay, thank you.
Just scroll.
Okay. Starting our report, most of what I cover is in homecoming week, so I thought I'd just bring it all together and say homecoming week. We have a picture of all of our ASB students. Every Wednesday in October, to bring breast cancer awareness, we all wear pink. So on Wednesdays we wear pink. It's a picture of all of us. And our Buff Puff volleyball is a really fun tradition that all of the high school boys can participate in. 13 teams participated, and that's over 100 students playing and then even more watching. So we have a lot of participation in that. It's all free, and it's just another fun way to get school energy going before homecoming. And then here we have the Fab Football, which is kind of like the girls' Buff Puff part. Me and Georgia were on a Buff Puff team and played flag football. And you get to kind of put an outfit together and make up a name. And we got to compete on the football fields for the high school, or on the turf, one team per grade. This was the first year we played on the turf, and it was a really fun experience. Cheer. Okay, so the boys' cheer is also another fun homecoming tradition. Every morning, the cheer girls are really patient and come in at, I think, like 5 in the morning to put together a dance for them. And yeah, they have a cheer dance that they present at the assembly. So another fun homecoming tradition. Our ASB puts together the homecoming reveal for our homecoming court, the football halftime. But our halftime presentation also includes the band color guard, the ROTC honor guard cheer, and everything ASB does behind the scenes. So it was really fun to get to support different groups of school, different parts of the school in that as well. Then we have our homecoming dance. The leadership did a really great job decorating and making that really cool experience for us. And I have some numbers. So we sold 633 ASB tickets, 260 ID tickets, 121 guest tickets. Because students qualify and have a waiver on file House Bill 1660, 84 ASB tickets were free and 32 ID tickets were free. $740 of revenue we didn't get because of this required policy. So this is one of the reasons we are so grateful that the district has been helping us with dance expenses. It has allowed us to keep ticket prices low and still put on a great event. Another part of homecoming is our Ram Landing project. Homecoming Court and ASB united in our school collecting donations for Ram Landing. We got a list sent to our advisories, or our Ram Strongs, of donations like clothes, toys, things that they need. And we brought that to our ASB classes throughout the week and they collected it. This donation drive was a huge success and a great way to start the school year with a service project. The freshmen had the most classes participate in Mrs. Whitfield's, had the most classes participate, and Mrs. Whitfield's senior Ram Strong collected the most items. And that is all I have. And then that's our dance prices. And then upcoming, our fast pitch is on to state, and we had our college fair. I got to talk to some representatives from WSU, and that was a really cool opportunity for me and all the other seniors there. Our fall sports senior nights are all around this week. I think soccer is tonight. Our softball state send-off, that was last Friday. 50 leadership students are going to a leadership workshop in November. We have our marching band competitions, and the auditions for the district musical Bye Bye Birdie was today. That's all I have. Thank you.
Maybe you can ask you a question. How many other students were at the college fair with you?
The whole senior class.
The whole senior class?
Yeah.
And what did you name your football team?
I don't know if the school board meeting appropriate.
You don't have to answer.
We went off of the Seahawks. Their defensive team is the Legion of Boom. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a really fun thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have two quick things. First
Yes.
of all, thank you very much for the slideshow. It's awesome. Love to see. It really adds to the report. So thank you for doing that. And secondly, it's really neat to see
for the old people in the room that went to West Valley a long time ago, that a lot of the traditions during homecoming week that may have been when the old people were coming to West Valley are still happening. So,
Yeah.
so that's really, that brought a smile to my face. Thank you.
Yeah, we have fun putting them on.
The powder puff football and the volleyball and the guys cheerleading team, those bring back some good memories. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you, Katie.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we move on to item 6 on the agenda, the presentation of the strategic plan. Dr. Finch?
All right, very good. So we have our strategic plan. Last year was the first full year. It was in implementation, and we're staying the course with our goals for the district through the strategic plan. I'd like to share with you work that's been done here in the fall, and as we look forward to the school year, what's going to be the focus within the strategic plan for the district. I'm going to be presenting along with, for Goal 1, and then Strong Foundations. We'll have Kristen Williams helping us with Goal 2 and the presentation. For Goal 3, we'll have Nick Clark and Amber Stiles-Gill. And then for Goal 4, Jed Waters and Big McMurray. And then I'll wrap things up with our district foundations. So we'll take a look. Again, the Goal 1 is the culture of safety and belonging. Goal 2, strong foundations. Goal 3, mastery standards. And Goal 4, career pathways. So last year we had a real strong focus on launching the strategic plan and looking at Goal 1 across every classroom. Our practices where the teachers will actively promote and model an environment that respects all students' backgrounds and experiences by using routines that deepen relationships, and that staff will explicitly teach, reteach, and reinforce school and classroom expectations throughout the year. We had professional development in this area, and we had follow-through with administration, checking in on classrooms. And basically this year we want to continue that. We'll continue to monitor the percentages. Oops, sorry. We'll monitor the practices, and we've done that through surveys of students, whether they feel that their school is safe, whether they feel that most students are respectful at the school. We do that every other month, reporting that data into the school improvement plan template that we have. And then our summative assessment is the survey of students and also families that we do every November. So that's coming up soon. They'll have the work through the Center for Educational Effectiveness, the CEE surveys. That's an outside company that does it to ensure that it's done properly. We really promote that. I know in the past, Michael Thorner had said, we wanted to see an increase in the number of respondents, and so we worked on that and had an increase. So we'll continue to really focus on making sure we have a good survey size of respondents for that survey. But more importantly, we're going to be continuing to monitor throughout the school year. And the other thing I wanted to share about the whole strategic plan is that all of our data for the key performance indicators, those are online, very accessible to anyone that would like to check in on the website. Just go to strategic plan and you'll see what those key performance indicators are. We have to update those in real time. So as the OSPI releases data about 9th grade on track for graduation, I have the password, boom, I go in there, I update the website. So as soon as we get the information, we update it. And so all the data right now is as up to date as it can be. There's a little lag from some of the data from OSPI, but I like to have the official data from OSPI and put that in there so it matches the OSPI website, our website. Everything is real consistent there. So culture, safety, belonging is still so important for our students in West Valley, and that really is the foundation for the learning. And now to talk about the learning, we'll have Goal 2. Kristen Williams is our instructional coach at Apple Valley Elementary. She's also worked as an intern for us as a principal and also a principal sub. But as an instructional coach, she's been real instrumental in working with the rest of the instructional coaches on providing professional development to our staff regarding this important area of the strategic plan. And so I asked Kristen to help share tonight the work that she's done and the work that's being done across the whole district at the elementary level.
Hi. Yeah, like Peter said, for strong foundations, our outcome is the hope that we increase the percentage of students reading at grade level and also increase the percentage of students that have acquired grade level mathematical skills and concepts. That is measured through our iReady diagnostics, and like Peter said, those scores are updated fall, winter, and spring. So our school improvement plans have that data in place. It's on our district website, and we're monitoring those as coaches and administrators, tracking that data to see that we're meeting those goals and reaching those. Part of our main focus this year for Goal 2 is the focus on teacher clarity. And we started that with aligning our instructional practices across all of the grade levels and really making sure that teachers have the clarity of knowing their standards. And when they know their standards, they're able to do all of these things. Asking the appropriate questions at the right times, knowing when to step in the moment in the lesson, those discussion prompts, giving students what we like to call wise feedback or specific feedback, and again, leading up to that assessment. On the other side, making sure that all of our tasks and activities are aligned to the standard at hand, whatever our goal or learning target success criteria is for that particular lesson, that our tasks and activities are fully aligned. And I guess I kind of said that already, the learning intentions and success criteria. Some of the ways we've done this year, we started off all of the buildings in August with professional development on teacher clarity, led by administrators and coaches. We followed that in September with another round of professional development on a release day. And then our monthly PLC days, of course, those late start Wednesdays. The focus this year is really on teacher clarity. And in the elementary for Goal 2, that's on those strong foundations. We know that giving students at a young, early age, those K-5 students, those reading and math skills are just going to increase their success as the years go on. So that's kind of, I think, in a nutshell.
Maybe book study you want to share?
Oh, yes, and the district did do, admin read a book, Teacher Clarity, over the summer, and then it was offered as a book study for the district after school, and I'm also offering it as in my coaching role at Apple Valley. So we're just digging down each month, reading a chapter, and really focusing on what is it that we can do to have strong foundations in our building. And
What was the name of the book?
Teacher Clarity.
Teacher Clarity, gotcha.
I had it, I should have brought it with me.
Oh yeah, we have lots of copies in the district.
Yes.
Lots of book studies happening, and really appreciate Kristen's leadership to make that happen. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen.
Next is Goal 3, Mastery of Standards. And so we have Nick Clark, Principal of West Valley Middle School, and Amber Stiles Gill, Principal of West Valley Junior High. They are a dream team at the mid-level, and they're going to share focus at the mid-level for Mastery of Standards.
All right. Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, all right, so just like when we saw you guys last year, we're just taking off with this, and so goals 1 and 3 are our focus points. I don't want to lose, goal 1 at all, so just a few things that we do there with that is we still are doing our Tier 1 systems with our BBIS. We're still greeting kids at the door. We still have our advisory going on every day. So I just want to make sure that we're working through Character Strong, which is our district curriculum for that. So goal 1 is still right there underlining and make sure that we're really making sure the kids are feeling safe and welcome every day. That's a big part of it. Goal 3, Mastery of Standards. Our outcome is supposed to be increasing standards of students meeting grade level standards in all content areas. So again, our data that we use to collect that, and aside from the summative that Peter, there you go. Thank you. So we do collect the data through iReady 3 times a year. We have classroom-based assessments that our PLCs work through as well, and WIDA, SBAC. Those are all data points for us that we would look through and make sure we're meeting this outcome. All right. So standards-based grading. So we kind of made a checklist for you guys. So these are things that we have started and we're really still working through. We don't ever kind of give up on this. This is an ongoing feat. And so standards-based grading and our implementation of that in the Skyward and our standards-based and mastery-based and all that. So we're still working through those. And so we're making small tweaks when we need to. And so, like Amber says, we're doing some fine-tuning.
Sure. So last year, this is actually our same list that we used last year to present to you guys with a few additions that we have near the bottom there, because we wanted to show that we feel like we're really making good progress in our mastery of standards, but we are still working. Last year, everybody completed proficiency scales, so across the board, all of our teachers have those, and we wrapped up our mastery-based learning collaborative that we were a part of. But our teachers are still collaborating around mastery standards and mastery-based learning, and working always on their proficiency scales, because once you put things in front of kids, then it's real life and you have to make adjustments. But we feel really good about where we are right now in terms of all of our content area teachers having scales for their curriculum and standards.
Yeah, so as we were promoting the mastery-based learning and the standards-based grading, we focused on the core 4 subject matters to start with and made sure that we got those established. And so last year, we really onboarded our elective and our exploratory teachers, and they're still continuing with that. And we feel like they're getting a really good stronghold as well, as much as the core teachers were. So across the board at the middle level campus, our teachers are feeling pretty confident with our proficiency scales and our mastery-based learning techniques and curriculums.
And then we were able to adopt new reading curriculum. Thank you for approving that. And so we've been implementing that in our ELA classes this year, and it's a guaranteed and viable curriculum, which is a piece of our strategic plan, right? It's right in there. We also wanted to point out that the implementation of this curriculum aligns with Goal 1 as well, because it's providing literature and experiences for our students as part of the student experience, but looking at their own experiences, but also others. So like, in ELA, I would tell my kids, like, you want to read books that are windows, mirrors, sliding glass doors, those kinds of things where you're looking at other people's perspectives, but also seeing yourself in the literature and then having new experiences. So our new curriculum is helping us to do that. But the one piece that we don't have checked there, of course, because it's new, is our teachers are continuing to develop common assessments aligned to the standards, and that, of course, means some tweaks sometimes to their proficiency scales.
Yeah, so drawing that line like the elementary is doing is very much the same. Teacher clarity is an umbrella that kind of overencompasses what we're doing this year. We're really hitting the ground running. So we really want to see that line from the standard straight through to the lessons all the way through to the assessments, and teachers are planning backwards with the assessments in mind. And so drawing that so that the students, the teacher, and whoever walks in at any given time can really see what the intention of is that classroom and that lesson, and being able to, so that everyone's on the same page. We're not having things done to us, we're all together working through it. So.
And we're doing very similar things. I mean, the Strong Foundations is similar to the Mastery of Standards, right? It's just like the big kid version. And so we too have book studies at the mid-level. Our teachers have chosen to go with the Teacher Clarity Playbook, which is more of like a handbook, or you think of like kind of like a study guide kind of piece, but it breaks down and has some just practical applications of writing learning targets and success criteria aligned to your standards. And we've been saying to our teachers, like, we're not trying to give you anything new. We just want to dig deeper and get better at what we're doing, because we have great teachers. We just want to keep getting better. And so that has seemed to take some pressure off, so they're not feeling like, oh my gosh, you're giving us one more thing. It's more like, no, this is good teaching. Let's do what we're doing, but let's just keep getting better at it. So a lot of similarities, like Kristen mentioned, at our PLCs, at our late starts. Everything is around teacher clarity and just keeping our focus. Our math team, the high school, they're able to pilot some materials specifically for algebra. And because we also offer algebra at the junior high, our teachers who teach algebra were able to pilot those materials, or in the process of that as well, which they love to team vertically, whether it's high school or our elementary teachers. Our math teachers really enjoy that. So this is just a nice little segue into that teaming. I think that's it for them.
Yeah. And so, and just kind of finish it up, another one that's not checked right now that we really are pouncing on this year is that our school improvement plan, we saw a deficiency in our English language learners, and so we really wanted to take a focus in on that. So we've been utilizing our coaches, and the district has been great about stepping forward with being able to pull some teachers out and do some PD for underneath that, and so we really appreciate that. So that's something that we're really hitting the ground running as well with. So yeah, any questions on this, guys? Thank you. Very good, thank you.
All right, next we have career pathways as a focus, and first we'll have Jed Waters, our Director Executive Director of Innovation for the district and person who oversees the Innovation Center. And you can go ahead and read it for them. They probably read enough for me. So.
Okay.
And then we're using that arrow there too.
Okay, perfect. All right. So the 4 outcomes we have with career pathways are looking at every student using their high school and beyond plan to be career ready. That I presented to you guys earlier in September on School Links. So we have lessons at the junior high at the high school and Innovation Center. I think upcoming this week or next, we are slated for the mid-level campus to start their lessons in School Links as well. Our outcomes is increase 9th grade students on track, increased percentage of students who graduate with post-secondary credits. We've done a lot of that at the high school level, or at the high school here, and then increase our 4-year graduation rate. And then Ben and I are just gonna kind of talk on a few of the ones. We want to tie in with the Innovation Center teacher clarity. So a lot of it looks at, as we just talked about, the connection of standards, students feeling comfortable in the classroom, is really all of our teachers utilize something called a RAM record. So it's kind of a standard document at the Innovation Center that really guides what is going on in class. So no matter what the activity is, lesson is, our teachers of the class should have a RAM record. You can kind of see 2 pictures on the bottom there. And I really focus on what I'm learning. So that's that master of standards. So what standards are they working on, or what essential questions are they trying to answer? Why am I learning that? Which really fits in the career pathways at the Innovation Center with the health science, computer science, STEM, aerospace, robotics. They should know I'm in that pathway, but why am I learning this? How does this connect to my future versus the teacher just told me to do this worksheet and be quiet, so I'm just sitting here doing this worksheet. So our goal is that everything connects to, and they can create, I think, why they're learning. How will I know I've learned it? So what are they doing? What's their success criteria in order to know that they're learning? And then what am I doing to learn it? I think sometimes in CT or in a lot of some of our classes, you get caught up in a project like I am welding. Why are you welding? Well, just because it's welding class, that's what I do. But why are you learning? So really get into what kind of task am I doing to learn how to weld and how to judge my weld, do everything, set up my operations so that then that can lead me to a future career as a welder, or even if they go into other areas, that precision, attention to detail, following the directions, following a standard operating procedure really helps out that way. And then on the right-hand side, there's a graphic that we have in all our classrooms that just kind of focuses back on that teacher clarity. So again, the things we just talked about, what am I learning, why am I learning it, how will I learn it, and what I'm doing. And if I go through a walkthrough, those are the things that after I do some observation, I'll stop and ask the students. As we do learning walks throughout the district, those are really a lot of the same questions we're answering. So the Innovation Center focused in on the career pathways, but then teacher clarity has to help get us there. If not, we're just kind of wandering around aimlessly. So teacher clarity provides that direction for us to our future careers.
All right, and then Ben McMurray, our principal of the high school. We're using the little arrow to advance.
Or enter, right? Enter works too. I wanted to clarify, as a West Valley grad as well, we can't call it powder puff anymore.
Oh, well, there was a not school board appropriate name, and so I just totally.
Most of the names.
I
were
totally
not
just
super
said,
appropriate.
I just totally said the wrong thing.
They were super clever, just not school appropriate.
Thanks for keeping me accountable.
Okay, so 4 big things that we were focusing on with the goal 4 that we are looking at the high school. So peer observations are big for us. We started this in the 21-22 school year. It was optional back then, so it was kind of like one of those things that teachers could go ahead and jump into if they wanted to. I was giving them building optional time for that if they would like to do that. The next year, we actually semi-forced them to do it because we said if they would like to get one of their building optional days done, they would have to do one observation day, which would be 7 different observations in different classrooms in the building. And the crux to that was really our building culture. We wanted teachers to have an open door policy, and we wanted people to be free to go in and out anytime they want and feel good about people seeing what they were doing and giving them positive comments as they did that. So I feel like that's really helped us along the way, especially with our instructional coaches being implemented a couple of years back, because now our instructional coaches are going in with teams of teachers, and that is allowing them to then debrief afterwards and have really rich conversations around what they saw and what takeaways they had. We keep it very positive. We don't ever talk about what we didn't see or what we would like to see. We always talk about what we were taking away from the classroom or that teacher, so that we understood that it was a gained situation. It was a value gain situation instead of a negative situation. The other one was teacher clarity goals, which everyone has talked about. Obviously, that's a big theme for the whole district. We attacked ours a little bit differently. We had almost 2 full days to talk to our staff and try to figure it out. So we ironed out what our teacher clarity goal would look like, and then we came back and we revised that, edited that, looked at that, and then had lots of conversations in here actually about what that looks like. And we're posting those on all of our doors. We haven't done it yet because we wanted to also empower our students. So our students are creating posters for our teachers that have their clarity goal on them. So they've got their names, they've got their clarity goal, and then a couple of things about that teacher so that we can post that on their door. And then everybody sees that as they come into the room. And they can also focus their concentration on that if they're doing peer observations, or even if students are in there, or we want to get feedback on those teacher clarity goals. So we're trying to make them very public and very open. Not to make everyone uncomfortable in the building, but to make it to where we're all in this together and we all want to get better and we all want to focus on specific things that we can get better at. We also discuss those at every single staff meeting and late starts. So when we start staff meetings, we have conversations around those clarity goals, like where we're at in the process, what kind of data we can collect to see if our clarity goal is actually doing what we want it to, whether we should change it, alter it, or adjust it as the year goes. We're hoping to do this for the next couple of years so that we can get a good foundation of what we're doing. Oh, maybe not. There we go. PLC focus, we talk about our clarity goals there as well. So every single time we have late starts, that's the number one thing that we talk about is clarity goals. We have at least 2 people in each department share out. We are also focusing on DNF data. We really want to see what students are struggling in our classes and which classes they're struggling in. I think we've had a hard time having conversations around that, and I feel like that's a very rich conversation to have. What classes in science are we struggling with? What classes in math are we struggling with? And how can we make things a little bit different, or maybe even make things clearer for students so that they have more success in those classes? Difficult conversations to have, but we're starting those now, and they're being forced on our departments. So hopefully in the future, we will have a lot more comfortable conversations around how we can tweak things or manipulate things to where students understand what the goal is and where we're going. And the last one, which is probably the most difficult one for us to grasp because things are moving a lot faster. Education is difficult because everything's changing all the time. And a lot of educators don't like change. I'm just throwing it out there. They have a hard time seeing change. We've got a virtual academy. We've got RAM Flex now, which has been a fantastic program, which we did present about last year. We've got RAM Success, which is basically a credit retrieval course that we run during the school day to make sure that students are getting the classes that they've either not had success in previously or need in the future so that they can graduate a little bit quicker. We've got dual enroll kids. We've got lots of options for our students, which in my opinion is fantastic. And in my opinion is very difficult all the way around, because now we've got, I always call it the Burger King way, right? Like you can have it your way. That's what it comes down to. And if you can have it your way, that means you can kind of mix and match and do all kinds of different things, which hurts our FTE at the high school, and we're trying to figure out ways to target certain students that would be good for those programs, as we've done in the past with Running Start and YV Tech. We've had a long time to figure out Running Start and YV Tech. We haven't had as much time to figure out how RAM Flex fits in there, how WVVA fits in there, how all these other options that we have now fit in with our students. And so we're really grappling with that. And like I said, educators as a whole really have a hard time with that. Change as a whole is difficult for us. So we're moving in that direction, and we're trying to figure that out as we go. So those are the 4 major things that I wanted to make sure I pointed out for Goal 4 today.
Thank you, Ben. All right, so I think you can see a strategic plan. You hope that, a plan like for a district would have coherence and bring coherence to the district. I think tonight you heard that with this focus on the teacher clarity across all the grade levels and just the ownership of that work by our administrators. And I appreciate them sharing tonight. The final part of the strategic plan is district foundations, so systems to ensure high quality student learning, authentic engagement and partnerships with student families and community, facilities and operations to support an outstanding student experience, and a culture of excellence, accountability, and continuous improvement. In the spring, we always have our department leaders, the directors, share with the board the work they've done throughout the school year and the plans for the future. I think what really comes through there is the focus on continuous improvement. We're always looking to get better in West Valley, and for district foundations, a really big piece that our board has been leading is this facilities and operations to support an outstanding student experience. So later in tonight's meeting, we'll be looking forward to this discussion with the board on the upcoming bond and to get direction from the board to come back at our next meeting with language that we put on the ballot. So the board's certainly a partner in the work for the strategic plan. Appreciate the role that you play. And at this point, I guess we open it up for any questions you have for any of the presenters.
I appreciate a lot of, well, I do see just, I see the coherence on everybody, I think, with the goals, and everybody's focused on the same goals. I loved hearing Kristen Williams, just the focus on reading and math and bringing that up at the elementary level. And then from the dream team, appreciate you showing the unchecked boxes. You know, I think it's easy to say, like, this is all I've done, but I think it's important to recognize, but this is where I need to grow. And I really love the attitude to grow. And I see that with the high school too, is that, like, the peer observations, I feel like it's how can we be better teachers, and how can we, I think that culture is so incredibly important. So I just say good job to what you guys are doing as leading all of our schools. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. Just a clarification. I remember previous discussions about the peer observations. Is that, correct my memory, is that all verbally done, or is there some written feedback that's given during that process at all?
Well, the purpose is not necessarily to give feedback to the teacher that's being observed, but to gain, like Ben said, gain some understanding of how the teacher is doing the teacher clarity, right? And having that alignment of the learning standards and the targets and the activity and the assessment. And then by having our instructional coaches go side by side with the teachers doing the observation, then they can debrief about what they saw and what they can take back to their classroom. So it's not so much giving feedback to the teacher being observed, but more what can we learn from that observation and bring back to my classroom.
And Peter, just to add to that, at the mid-level, we have a form that teachers worked on with, some of our teachers worked with our coaches to develop a form. And when they go to do those peer observations, they fill that out as more of like a reflection and the takeaways. And we have, at the mid-level, we have expected strategies as admin that we introduced when we came on board. So they're looking for some of those things and thinking about how they can implement those ideas into their classroom. And then they share that form with us as well.
Okay. I like this whole process, so I just have a few questions about it. And then, so when those take place, is it like teams that do it together, or do they change every time? I mean, how many people participate in it? Is that just one-on-one, or is it multiple individuals?
Let's let Ben answer, because he's a little closer to the action.
It all depends. So basically, we're paying them for their prep time. So if they've got second period prep and they would like to see other teachers in the building, sometimes teachers will just send emails out to everyone who has second prep and say, hey, I'm going to go observe this person. Does anybody want to go with me? And then 4 people might go, and they might debrief afterwards. Sometimes you can't do that as easily, so sometimes it's just one person going on their prep to go watch other teachers and then make sure that they get their time in. So it just depends on what's going on and how that works. But literally, we're just paying for them for their prep. They're prepping outside of school, which means they get optional time for that.
Okay. No need to comment on this. Just it must be a little nerve-wracking for some of the teachers to going through that. For 4 people show up, or 5.
I don't know if you're Bob. You want to how does it feel?
Yeah, I've been on all sides of that. I've got open door policy. One of our instructional facilitators just threw out an email yesterday or day before, said, "Are you guys, sent it to a group of us? Are you open for? Is your door open for people coming in?" Yes, always. I've gone out alone, without being directly invited. I have been directly invited and gone alone. I've gone in with groups. And I've had where one teacher will set up, the group that's going in. Other times it'll be an instructional facilitator that sets up the group and the group goes in. Essentially every which way you can slice it, I've done it. I will say that most times when I've gone in, I've filled out about 2/3 of a piece of paper to keep for myself and filled out a bottom third of a paper to leave with the teacher whose class I was observing, to let them know, that I appreciated being there, that there were a number of things that I got to see, that I'm reflecting on, how I can report it in my own practice. It's been a very positive, all aspects of it have been positive.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the explanation. It sounds like a great process. It's very intriguing, so I hope it continues to be a success. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just have a few questions. So in goals 3 and 4, and by the way, I think it's, just as an introductory comment, I think the mastery of standards and the proficiency associated with that, I think that's a great outcome that for our students. I love everything about that. To demonstrate proficiency. In the strategic plan, it references in goals 3 and 4 increasing percentage of students meeting grade level standards in all classes, and then a variety of other in goal 4, increasing the percentage of 9th grade students on track for graduation. So there's these various indicators of percentages that we have. So my question is those numbers are of West Valley, that's updated through OSPI, right?
Well, the assessment information is OSPI, or the 9th grade on track for graduation, but that is more summative. We are doing more leading indicators, so we're looking at that more on a monthly basis.
Right.
And then, like Ben said, last year administrators were monitoring that on a monthly basis, the Ds and Fs. And then Ben said, we really need the teachers to own this and analyze it and become part of the action research on how we're going to move the needle on that. And so this year the teachers are part of analyzing that Ds and Fs as well.
Right. So my question, I guess, is twofold. In terms of, do we have any information on how we rank in these various areas, area-wide, statewide, so forth? Not that I want to necessarily compare, I do want to compare how are we doing against our other peer districts, number 1, and then number 2, okay, yes, we want to increase the percentage, but where are we trying to get to?
Right.
And then are there other districts that are really moving the needle? Because I love the work that we're doing. I love everything that I heard about today. It's a lot of internal work. We have terrific people, very intelligent. But my question is, back to the numbers, is if there are other districts that are doing it awesome and really making that impact and really moving that needle, at what point in the process do we venture out and look at models that we don't have to reinvent the wheel? So that's like a multiple series of questions, but that's where my head is at.
And I feel good that I can phone a friend up here.
Yeah.
So Ben was doing work with the Center for Educational Effectiveness, the CEE, on looking, I believe they call it outlier study. So Ben, do you want to share a little bit about the work you're doing, I know last year with Eric Woltz?
Yeah, we actually jumped into a book study that I'm paying for with the area, and Sunnyside has done a lot of work on this because their grad rate has really increased considerably, and that's with bringing in their alternative program. So it used to be separate, and a lot of school districts, in order to increase their grad rate, would just kick kids to their alternative program so that their grad rate would increase. And that happened considerably, especially when that was a big indicator as far as like how well a district is doing. Sunnyside brought in their alternative program and decided to incorporate the whole thing and still had a lot of success with their grad rate. And so that is really the model that we're focusing on, and there were a lot of people that were kind of surrounding Sunnyside and making sure that that was working well. So we jumped in with a book study with them. We're on our second year right now, and it really comes down to the indicators that you're looking at and making sure that everyone in the building is seeing those indicators on a regular basis, which is one of the reasons why we did the DNF thing every month, is because we want to make sure that we have that a little bit more at the forefront. And if we're looking at it more often, we're thinking it's going to change for the better. Because of course you don't want to just lower the rigor. You don't want to just get kids through so that your grad rate increases. You want to keep the rigor where it's at, but also move the needle to where we're being more clear in what we're asking of kids and getting them to that bar. And I know this doesn't, your question really is the question that everybody wants to answer in the whole nation. So when you ask that, that's a really difficult question, but I'm just telling you the work that we're trying to do to get to that point.
No, it does make sense, I guess. More from a 35,000 foot view. I go on the district's website. Why are we, page 1, district website, why are we terrific? Question mark. And there's a bunch of really good things on here that I totally agree with, by the way. And again, that's attributed to our staff. I want to be able, I mean, like, I'm competitive about West Valley School District. I think we're the best. I want to prove it. I want the objective data to show that we're number one. That's what I mean, that's, but not just we're number one because we're number one, but number one because we're getting great outcomes. So it's not, I mean, you know, so that.
I think you see that in some, like when you compare our SBAC scores, like I'm gonna take 8th grade math.
Right.
I'm always praising our math,
Right.
junior and math teachers, but when you look at our 8th grade SBAC math data from this last year and you compare it to the state, we're phenomenal. Is it where we want to be? No, but we are doing so much better. And then also another piece of your question was about like, are we going out? Are we seeking these other places, right? So I can't remember if we talked about this previously, but for several years we were part of the Mastery-Based Learning Collaborative, which brought together a lot of schools, and we were able to work with people not just in Washington State, but people really from all over, and coaches from the East Coast and everywhere in between. And so we were able to get a lot of great ideas and really make, I think, some good progress on our mastery standards and mastery-based learning, because we were able to learn from, you know, we had site visits, but we also had meetings quite frequently where we met with all of these schools and got ideas. So.
Thank you.
I do have to also add that most of the districts that we've seen that are doing a really, really good job of moving that needle are getting extra funding in a lot of different areas that we are not. And so we really have to think outside the box as to how we can get that, or how we can maneuver what we have and what we can control in order to do that. So it makes it more difficult for West Valley for sure. But like Amber said, I think our scores do reflect that we're at least getting them there and above.
What are those areas then that they're getting the extra funding in?
It could be a lot of things. I mean, we went to, was it Lindsay, California?
Yeah.
We went to Lindsay, California, but they had, Marzano was putting all kinds of money into it, the state was putting all kinds of money into it, they had a lot of free and reduced money coming in, like, it just seems like there were a lot more grants for those schools, and the things they could do seemed extraordinarily out of touch as far as what our community could do because of our area, like our size. Just the amount of region that we have in our school district makes it much more difficult for us to provide internet resources for everyone in the whole district. When we went to Lindsay, it was so much tighter, so much easier, so much more condensed, and they had so much more money that they could provide those kinds of things for our students.
So like internet resources for students that don't have it at home, that type of thing?
And programs. Was it Power School? They had lots of different STS programs, different things that they were buying outside of the norm that were difficult for us to figure out ways to fund. Or people, for that matter, or class size, for that matter. Like, when you can hire more people, hire more teachers, reduce class size, obviously your numbers should increase because you're getting more one-on-one time with those
Well,
students.
instructional coaches, you've talked about the need for additional staffing for instructional coaches.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Did you have anything you want to ask?
That's perfect.
All right, thank you. Nice presentation. All right, next we go to, let's see, where are we? Item 7 on the agenda, public comment of non-discussion agenda items. I have a little script here I need to read.
Is that how you always say it every day?
As I get it right every time.
Cliff notes here.
So members of the public who would like to provide public comments will sign in. Speakers will be called in the order that they signed in to speak. Speakers will be given 3 minutes for their comments. Public comment is not the proper forum to address concerns about a specific staff member. If a person has concerns about a specific staff member, they should make an appointment with the superintendent to address their concerns. Okay, do we have anybody on the list for signing in? All right, anybody in the room care to speak?
Where's the list at? Love to sign in.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere to
I
sign
just
in.
grabbed it.
It's okay.
Hey, you could just come up if, at this point.
Is there anybody on the list now, Stephanie?
All right, the mic is all yours.
Good evening, members of the school board. I appreciate that you chose to represent the West Valley School District and help leading our community organization that we love. My name is Bob Balderston. I've been a Yakima resident for 24 years, most of which has been in West Valley. I have children who have spent their entire school lives in West Valley and are now at the middle level campus and high school. My wife also teaches in the district. I teach, coach, and volunteer in the district. I have concerns about how I, as a parent, taxpayer, and voter, have had restricted opportunities and reduced resources because of my employment status. By school board policy, I cannot serve on the instructional materials committee, even though my children are at an age where parental oversight of educational materials is preparing them for life after high school. As a West Valley parent, I'm disappointed that the school board has chosen to strip me of this right. Also, by district policy, I'm not allowed to keep track of my students' progress on a Skyward account separate from my professional Skyward account. This, too, is a decision that the district chose to make, and the representatives from ESD 105 have said that it is possible for our district to fix. This exclusionary policy disproportionately impacts parents with blended families. Keeping track of my children's in-person activities is challenging enough, and I was thankful that the district chose to subscribe with an online monitoring service, QStudio. I'm not sure quite how you pronounce that. However, because I have a WVSD208.org email address associated with my Skyward account, I'm unable to take advantage of the service. As a taxpayer, I feel that I've been singled out again because of my employment status. Each of these items are items which the school board alone can fix. Each can be fixed at no monetary cost. And considering the stance that many of you have taken with regard to parents' rights, I hope this message is clear. Our bus drivers, custodians, nurses, IT technicians, mechanics, counselors, and yes, teachers deserve to be heard with an equal voice and treated on an equal footing with regard to district-wide services for their children. I urge you to consider policy revisions that fix these matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, is there anyone else in the room who would like to speak? If not, public comment of non-discussion agenda items is closed. Next on the agenda, we have item 8, approval of the consent agenda. As all of you see there are a number of items. If there's anything, anybody has any concerns on the board that would like to discuss in any detail, now perhaps you can bring it up. Otherwise, if someone would like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
All right, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. We'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Make sure I don't miss anything. Next, we have item number 9, discussion items. There's 2 items there. Obviously, these are kind of a big discussion for us to have. We've been talking about these to some degree, but let's have a formal discussion at this point. Let's start with, I think we could, the levy proposals first, or does anyone want to start in any other order?
Well, it'd be good to follow the agenda. The
Okay.
levy proposal, I had shared information in the board packet about the levy renewal considerations, what the levy supports. I had shared a pie chart showing the different percentages of areas for the educational programs operational levy. That was something that Steve Wolcott had requested.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the last board meeting, there had been discussion by the board, and it appeared to be consensus to look at running the levy for 4 years for $1.50 per thousand. And at this point, looking for final consensus because I do need to have the board provide the administration direction to prepare a ballot proposal that would be on the February 10th, 2026 ballot for the replacement levy. And we would work on getting that language from legal counsel and bringing that to the board for approval on a vote. And that would be at our next board meeting on Monday, November 10th. We actually have the board meeting on Monday, our next board meeting, because Tuesday, the 11th, is a holiday for Veterans Day. And so definitely looking for direction from the board so that we can move forward and get the ballot proposal language finalized and brought to the board for approval.
All right, well, we can have some discussion. I think we kind of beat this one to death before, so unless anyone has anything new, we can move on.
I just had some thoughts, maybe.
Okay.
I think I'm for approving it, the resolution tonight. But one thing I think would be helpful for us, because we are asking the community to approve it, is with the jump from the 6 point whatever million to 9 point, you've got a $3 million increase. And I think the pie chart, I think, does a really good job of laying that out. But maybe if we can specify where's that $3 million extra going to go to? I think asking, Ben, the question about the areas of funding that gave those schools more success. I would love to see that maybe some of that funding tie into our goals of getting that success. And so I think just for transparency's sake, if we can give a little more detailed,
Sure.
and it doesn't have to tie us to it. I realize you can put words out and it can seem like we're tied to it, but I think in a sense, these are our goals. We want to take this and we want to hire this many more teachers. And maybe we can, maybe we can't, but we have goals in it. And I think it'd be helpful for the community as we try to ask them to pass this. But, yeah.
Anything else?
I don't have any further comments.
I don't either. None?
None.
All right,
Okay.
so just to kind of summarize, I had heard consensus at our last meeting to come back with language that would have the $1.50 per thousand be that as our estimate for the 4-year levy. Mr. Kepler has asked for additional information that would just share what are our goal areas for the additional resources that we would have.
And maybe how that resource would be used.
Right. Yep, the goal areas and how the resources would be used. And we can do that. All right. So I think we're ready for the bond if you want to.
So, outside of that, everybody's kind of in consensus there for that, so, okay. Let's move on to the bond.
Right, I did include information from Corey Plager. Corey would be with us, but he's actually doing 2 different board presentations tonight. So it's a busy time of year for preparing for upcoming bonds and levies. So the information I did share, at our last meeting, the board had asked the administration to identify what would be the additional cost for having an auditorium that could fit the band and choir, so they wouldn't have to perform in the gym. And we looked at what the square footage was on the existing proposal And basically, with an additional $5 million, we could add the square footage needed for an auditorium at the middle school that would house have the students on the stage, have the parents in the audience. The high school auditorium, the seating is about a little over 500, and the seating for the auditorium that we were proposing for the middle school would be approximately 900 to 1,000. And so that would be quite a bit more capacity. Because even now with the junior high concerts held at the high school auditorium, it's almost standing room only at that point. So we really need greater capacity for the seating.
What's the seating at the junior high right now?
Well, I was talking about the high school auditorium.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, there's less seating at the junior high auditorium. So what the board really needs to give direction tonight is, do we move forward with the original proposal of the $92.5 million, or do we add the $5 million for the middle school auditorium, which would be a $97.5 million bond? And then Corey Plager from D.A. Davidson, who's worked with the board before and been here in person to present in the past. So he was able to put together the information about what the cost would be using the updated assessed value that we've had. And so I'm going to take us through that presentation right now. So on page 2 of, I have it on the overhead, you can follow along with your iPads there, or the computers that you have. So what is this doing here? Hide that. There we go. Okay, so we have, this is again background information that we have. The high school bond is going to be paid off in 2026, and so on this page 2, this shows what the Apple Valley and Summit View bond, what the cost is for that. We look at what the assessed value has done over time. Recently had an increase in assessed value, which included the $80 million plus in new construction. So the more new construction we have, then the tax rate is spread over more taxpayers, basically. Page 4 is the property values and school taxes. So we have the levy rate has gone down over time because of the assessed value going up. And then we have the school bond information there. So total for 2025 was $2.77 per thousand, and anticipated to go down. And one of the reasons for that decrease is the defeasance of $7.5 million that the school board approved earlier this fall. So this is a replacement bond. You can see at the top on page 5, the top is the $92.5 million. So these next couple pages are examples for the $92.5 million bond. So the elementary school bond, you can see would be in 2027, would be 54 cents per thousand, and the new bond would be 79 cents per thousand. And so the combined rate for bond would be $1.33 per thousand. So that $1.33 per thousand is less than the current 2025, which is $1.52 per thousand, and even a little bit less than the anticipated 2026. So with the 92.5 million, it'd be the tax rate would go down from what we currently have for the combined tax rate. And then next, if you add the levy at $1.50 per thousand, again on page 6, this is a $92.5 million bond example. So the combined rate is $2.83, and that would be over, you know, the life there of the Apple Valley bond. And then it's structured in a way that when the Apple Valley and Summit View bond goes off in 2038, in 2039, there would be a little bit of an increase in the middle school and Montana Valley bond. So that there still would be, the tax rate would go down in 2039. The $2.83 would be less than the 2026 rate, but right around the rate that we had in 2024, and then less than we had in 2021, 2022, 2023. Now the next slides are for an example of a $97.5 million bond. So this would be adding the middle school auditorium to the project. So the 97.5 million bond, this is page 7. The combined bond rate in 2027 would be the 54 cents per thousand for the Apple Valley Summit View bond, and then the new bond would be 83 cents per thousand for a combined rate of $1.37. Again, the $1.37 for the bond rate would be less than the 2025 rate of $1.52. And so the parameters that the Long-Range Facilities Planning Committee, they wanted to make sure that the bond rate would not increase if we had a bond. So because the assessed value has gone up, even with the 97.5 million bond, it's still actually less of a tax rate than 2025. So the 2025 tax rate with the high school and the Summit View, that's $1.52 per thousand. With the 97.5 million bond, it would be $1.37 per thousand. So it would be actually a less of a tax rate than we currently have in 2025. And then when you combine the levy and the bonds all together, it's $2.87 per thousand. You can see that in 2027, $2.87 per thousand. And again, that's less than the rate of 2021, 2022, 2023, really close to the 2024 rate. The 2025 rate was $2.77 per thousand. And we anticipate in 2026 will be $2.47 per thousand. And I believe that concludes that. And then the other information I shared was looking at a comparison of neighboring districts. So just to have a sense, with the $2.87 per thousand, the $2.83 per thousand, how does that compare? Now these comparisons, just to be transparent here, we're comparing the 2025 current rates to what our proposed rate would be in 2027. But you can see in comparison to 2025 rates, the $2.87 per thousand, that's really right there as tied for the lowest in our Upper Valley, our neighboring districts. So again, the way we read this is down at the bottom, you see West Valley with the first asterisk, that's the combined rate of $2.87 per thousand. That would be if we ran the $97.5 million bond, which would include the middle school auditorium. And then the very bottom with the two asterisks, that's the $2.83 combined rate, and that's with the original plan of the $92.5 million bond without the large middle school auditorium. But just in comparison, it's also helpful, I think, on the recording. Sometimes it's hard to see the screen, I think. But in comparison, the 2025 tax rate for Nat Cheese combined rate was $3.82 per thousand. East Valley, $3.38. Yakima, $3.26. Highland, $2.98. And Selah, $2.87. Again, West Valley with the $97.5 million bond would be $2.87. That'd be right with Selah. And with the $92.5 million bond, it'd be $2.83. All right, so that's the information I had shared in the board packet. And so I think we're done presenting. I'll come back and hear the discussion.
All right, who would like to go first?
I feel like I've been going first all night, so I'll go second.
Yeah, I think where I'm at right now, the 92.5, I'm willing to vote on and I'm excited for. The 97.5, I want to get there, but I don't know what the value of the auditorium adds to it. As I'm looking at the scope and sequence, one of the things that was really valuable about the long-term facility plan was that we really got to look through each item. And I don't know what the auditorium will get us for $5 million. And so I'd like to see maybe a little bit more detail on the auditorium. I'd like to get there, I just don't know what it is yet.
Okay.
Dr. Finch, you were going to look into the feasibility of expanding the junior high auditorium. Were you able to?
Well, one of the things I'd heard from the staff was that they wanted to be able to have the auditorium as part of the middle school so that it could be used during the school day. So there could be rehearsals during the school day. Kids wouldn't have to leave the building. So it would just be a part of the new middle school. So we really didn't look at a way to expand. I mean, we did a walkthrough with a consultant, and it really seemed like it would be difficult to, any expansion of the stage of the current junior high, you really weren't going to get enough space that you're going to be able to add the number of students that we have participating in sixth grade band and choir, because we have so many students. Yeah, so it really, we looked at it, but there really wasn't feasibility to expand the current junior high auditorium and have it be something that would really work for the school.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think I quite understand either it's an RCW, I believe, is that right? That, why is it that the middle school students aren't able to use that building?
No, it's a great question. So in the other information that was included in the board packet, it shows the cost of the projects, and then it shows what the matching funds are from the state.
Mm-hmm.
So the matching funds are used because we're using the square footage of the current junior high, and we're going to add that square footage to the middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing that, we're basically taking money that's intended for the modernization of the junior high building, and we're saying, well, we're not going to modernize the junior high building, we're going to add on to the middle school building, and that will be the use of those funds.
Okay.
So by doing that, you're saying that we're not going to use the junior high building for future use of students during the school day, because we're taking the money for the matching funds and using it to expand the middle school.
So if we were to expand, to build on a new auditorium at the junior high, then it would cost more than $5 million, because over at the middle school, we're getting the matching funds, which brings that cost down.
Yeah, I think you had asked, why can't we use the junior high after the project? It's because we're saying we're using that square footage for modernization of the junior high building, and we're adding that to the middle school instead.
Right.
And so we're going to take the junior high off of the books of usable space for the district for students. We can still use it for administration buildings, we can use it after school for student activities, but you can't use it during the school day.
Okay, and that's because of an RCW?
It's the agreement that you have for the use of the matching funds.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so it is tied to the, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I can get there. I don't think this meeting that I'm ready
Sure.
to approve the addition, but I see the need, and I think at the community forum hearing from so many, about how packed in we are. I just went to the choir concert at the high school last week, and we were packed there, and I think there's other alternatives we can do, but I see the need, and I think I'm going to get to the point of approving it, but maybe something I'd like to see numbers on it.
Sure.
Is I know we have a certain number of students that are involved in sports, certain number of students involved in arts, and I know a lot of times the arts tends to get the raw end of the deal, like they don't get all of the resources, but maybe if we can see the number of students in sports versus the number of students involved in the arts, like band, choir, concert, I think that would be helpful as well, just to, I think, just lend to the question is the value, like is it meeting that value? But that would be helpful for me.
So, a few questions.
Sure.
Number one, the $2.87 and thank you to Corey and you for getting this together for us. What wasn't crystal clear at least in my own brain, was that do these various numbers factor the defeasance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you said that wasn't
that's okay.
enormously clear to me.
Without the defeasance, it would be 10 cents more.
Got it. Okay. Secondly, if we were to move forward with adding the auditorium or the extra $5 million to the middle school, how does that or does that not impact the approximately estimated $468,000 that we would spend on the ADA compliance at the junior high auditorium? Or is that just not part of, so in other words, we passed the bond, would we not move forward with that project? What's kind of the, what are we gonna do with the junior high auditorium? You know, I'm thinking through that. I don't necessarily think we need to have an answer exactly tonight, but the junior high auditorium is a really nice asset that we have. If the bond passes, do we still need that? Because are we, you know, what kind of audit, is that gonna effectively replace the existing junior high auditorium? Question mark. And I don't necessarily need an answer to that in order to vote yes on the $97.5 million bond, but I think that's a question worth having an answer for.
Right, it's a good question. I was gonna say that I would need to get back to double check on whether we're required to do that ADA compliance or not. But that part of the project has not been started, so
well, obviously
we would be able to save on that. Yeah.
Well, and if the bond doesn't pass, I think we need to do that for a whole variety of reasons. But thinking ahead just a little bit, thinking optimistically for a second, that if we ran the bond for this and it included the middle school auditorium, I guess, at least in my own mind, I'd like to know what we are or are not going to do with the the junior high auditorium.
Right.
Third question is, could bond counsel, and I wouldn't think it would be that difficult, but effectively write two bond resolutions, one with the 92.5 and the other one with 97.5. I mean, it's literally just it's just a number change. So just in order to kind of keep us moving ahead.
Yes, to answer your question, yes, I'm sure that we could do that, and it makes sense to go in that direction because it sounds like the board is not quite decided yet, so we can have the bond council write those two different resolutions, and then at the next meeting, we can present the information that you had asked for, the other board members, about getting more clear about like number of students participating, what size do we need for that middle school auditorium to be, and then also, like you had asked, about the junior high auditorium. And so we could come back at the next board meeting with those two different proposals and then make a decision at that time.
But I clearly want to say my position is we should run the 97.5.
Okay.
Yes, I would like the other additional information, but my attitude is we should run the 97.5 million bond proposal with the middle school auditorium. If for no other reason than minimizing kids traveling back and forth between buildings is a safety concern, that for me is worth $5 million. So that's my position.
All right, well, stole a little bit of my thunder. One of my questions was what's going to happen to the junior high auditorium. So that's something for Dr. Finch to take back. Very similar to your thought, you know, I've seen some of the preliminary information already. I'm in favor of going for the 97.5 for a lot of reasons. Very similar to what I said about some of our other projects that we have kind of kicked down the road for years, and we never get to it, or we get to it and by then the cost is higher. And I don't want to see us delay anymore on some of these things. And we've heard from a number of people about the auditorium that something needs to be done about it. So we can get more information and we can find out more about it in more detail. But I think there is a little bit of a sense of we need to get moving forward on some of these projects instead of just, you know, every time, you know, the administration comes to us, we're getting more and more information. I don't know that the more information is going to change my mind about this. I think this is something we need to do. and probably should have done a long time ago, to be perfectly honest, but I'm glad to see that it's high on the list of things we should consider doing right now. So my thought here is just very similar to Mr. Thorner's. I like the idea of getting more information on it, but I don't like the idea of really delaying it anymore, further meetings and further out. I think some of these things are very clear in terms of the mandate from the community to do these things. And so I think we should figure out a way to do it. We can, $5 million is a lot of money, so there's a lot of things you can do to that auditorium with $5 million. We just have to figure that part out. I think we allocate what we're gonna spend on it, and then we move forward with the project. So short and simple is my thoughts on it. It needs to be done. Let's get it done. And I would like to see us just get moving on this and not delay.
Yeah.
All right, any other comments? Any more from anyone?
Yeah, I appreciate the direction. We'll
I
work on it.
have one more on, just in regards to, I think, messaging and communicating with the bond. Every time I'm around other parents and stuff, I just ask them, what are your thoughts on the bond? And I think, I would say it's 50-50 probably, but one of the things that comes up, and I think it was Mr. Wyckoff brought it up at the forum, was our messaging around Mountain View. Because it's much simpler what's happening to Mountain View, and I think by having it on there, there's this expectation that they're going to get this, more space and stuff like that. But I think county code doesn't allow it, and so I think maybe just include in this message for clarity that we can't expand the footprint of Mountain View because of Yakima County Code, and I know the well is a big part of that issue, just being on a well. But I think it just, I don't want to pass the bond and then the community was expecting that we were going to do more at Mountain View, and lose that trust.
Right.
So
be clear and transparent about the communication about Mountain View.
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds good.
All right, any more discussion? Anybody?
I'm good.
All right, clear enough direction,
Yep.
Dr. Finch?
Yes, very clear.
All right, great. So now we'll open it up to public comment on the discussion items. I'm not going to read my script again to everyone, so you know it already. But if there's anybody who has a comment or wants to make any public comments, please step up to the mic.
All right, well, I may be your athletic director at the junior high and former athlete, but I am an appreciator of the arts, and I think that all of our students deserve an opportunity to find what they're great at. I feel like I can answer a few of the questions that you were discussing, or at least give you maybe a little bit more to think about. I do remember our arts teachers came to the public forum and they spoke passionately about why they believe that we need an addition to the an additional auditorium. And I'll be honest, in the moment I was like, oh gosh, just say you just support the bond. I was nervous for them, but I want you to know I think they made some really good points, and in talking to our choir teacher about just the musical opportunities for our kids in our plays. They don't have access to the pit. You may remember them saying that. And so we want to be able to provide not just opportunities for the kids on stage, but for those musically as well, to play their instruments and do all of those things. So that is one reason that I know they feel passionate about just expanding that. And I do see some great opportunities to utilize our current auditorium even with an additional auditorium. We have our after-school clubs and activities, and in those clubs that we currently have, we have our ballet folklore club, which they perform and need to practice performing. Most of the time they're practicing right now in the cafeteria, but sometimes they can practice in the auditorium. It's just a space thing. And then also some of our seasons we have a drama club, in addition to the musical that we put on. And some years we've had a fall play and a spring play as well, district-wide, sometimes just for the high school or just for the middle school. So there's so many opportunities just within our after-school, before and after-school clubs to utilize that space as well. We also, I know, I kind of live at school because I love it, and there are community groups that come in and utilize like our space in the auditorium for dance recitals and other meetings and similar activities. And then my counterpart is really good with numbers, so he was able to just tell me off the top of his head, we have over 100 choir students just in 6th grade, and then 125 band students just in 6th grade. And so I think it's not just about the space.
Sorry, Ms. Gills, can you say that one more time?
Over 100 choir students in 6th grade and over 125 band students in 6th grade. And then I'm not the numbers person. I'm the ELA person, so I don't know how many kids are in band and choir in 7th grade, but a lot. There's a significant amount. So I'm sure that our arts teachers could speak even more to that, but there's value, I think, in additional space and opportunities for our kids, but also value in the space that we have. Oh, and I want to invite you because our kids just started trying out for the play, like our high school students said here. And so middle school students tried out yesterday, and then high school students today. And then they have additional students that couldn't make it will be there tomorrow, and then they'll be rehearsing all the time. So it's a great opportunity even before the musical to come visit the auditorium if you haven't been there recently.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Bradley Riggs. I'm a teacher at the high school. But before I taught at the high school and the Innovation Center, I was a teacher at the mid-level campus for a very long time, 8 years. And I've been doing yearbook for a very long time. I did it at the junior high before the middle school even existed. Back in the 90s, I did it in high school here at West Valley, which is now the IC, and I'm the yearbook advisor now. And so I have been in a lot of district buildings and spaces and auditoriums and classrooms, and I see a lot of things. And so when you asked about the value of the spaces, I cannot tell you how many comments I hear from parents who don't know that I'm a teacher, although a lot of people probably do by now, but just hearing the things they say. And I went to the choir concert last weekend and I heard several comments about like, why do not we have a bigger space for this?
Yeah.
Because it's so small. And it is, because if you think about it, if there's 100 kids in 6th grade and every one of them brings one parent, that's an extra 100 people that we have to fit, and that's just one grade level. So when you question these spaces, and I say this with some trepidation because I've been involved in every bond effort since I've been a teacher, and the junior high has always been kind of the poison pill, so to speak, and the auditorium space has always been one of those big issues. I keep looking at Amber because she and I worked on the last one, but I would really encourage you, if you have not seen those spaces, both at the middle school and the junior high, to go check them out. The auditorium in the junior high is one of the most uniquely weird spaces I've ever seen in my entire life. Part of it, being the yearbook advisor, I was at the junior high when we had our 40th anniversary, and the theme that year was 40 years of gold, because we also switched to the Rams the next year. And other than just learning how many shades of yellow there are, there's quite a few. One of the things that we did was we contacted as many of the people that had taught their retirees. We even found one of the guys that worked on the original construction company and asked him about the spaces. And the auditorium, some of it was ADA at the time because the building was built right before that. Those requirements kicked in. But that place is unique. There's very few places like it in the Valley. I see a lot of schools. If we can save it in some way for after-school space, it's absolutely worth the effort. I know it's a lot of money. I mean, I can read a budget sheet just like anybody else, and our times are tight, and our district's done a really great job so far with our finances. But the arts programs need more support, and frankly, we need more space. It is about art, but it's also about space. And so when we can't house one of the grade levels or even two of them in a spot, I mean, it's small even for the high school now. So I would say anything we can do to add capacity, and if you really have never seen them, I would encourage you to go. If Amber will let you, I actually don't know if OSHA will, but if you can go up on the catwalks and take a look above the pit, which I don't think is open anymore.
I think you know on that.
Well,
I've been a volunteer.
I probably shouldn't admit this in open session, but I've been up there, and it's a pretty cool thing. So if you haven't seen those things, I would strongly encourage you to take a look at that if you're still trying to make up your mind. I know it's a lot, but and I'm normally not big on anecdotal evidence being a history teacher, but you really should look. There's a lot of people I think who are watching, and your point about Mountain View is very well done because I hear a lot of people talk to me about Mountain View. But if you haven't, I would really encourage you to add it to your package. I think it's worth it. I think the community is finally ready to embrace it, and I think to Mr. Kephardt's point, it is about messaging. And so I think if what we all know can be communicated better to the families, I think that would help. So please add it in there. Don't give up on it. Take a look. And I'm sure she invited you already, so you should take her up on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Peter Maranci. Peter.
Oh, yes, Mr. Marinacci.
Dr. Finch, with your puzzle, since I see you have it up, pull up the board memo that shows the bond levy, that page, as a courtesy to our guests right here. And does it show up on the Google list manual as well?
I believe so. Oh, that's the bond, sorry. Just the levy. There. To the pie chart?
No, right below this.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah. It's very good.
Thank you. Alrighty, so thank you for your time. So I just want to take off from last board meeting when I spoke on the levy, and so it's also like a continuation of that discussion and a theme that Mr. Kephardt brought up. So when you look at the levy revenue of 9.9 million, the starting point for the levy that's ending up is 6.9 million. So you have that increase that's there, plus there's also the additional, if we hit the assessed value of 3.5 million in that year one here, 2027. So effectively, you're going from 6.9 million to about 13 million. And I think, hey, it sounds like the levy getting to $1.50 is a great idea. However, I think the communication with the community is important to say, hey, this is what we plan on doing. There was talk about expanding programs. So when the previous bond did not hit the assessed value, Dr. Finch said, hey, we had to really focus in on the classroom. And there's some, and you guys would know better as teachers, some programs that were taken away. So if we're going to go ahead and add it back in, I think we should show the taxpayers, what are we talking about here? Mr. Kepler brought it up a little bit, how much staff, and rather than get pinned in on a specific number because you need flexibility, say, hey, we're planning on picking up maybe 20, 25 people, 15 people, we're going to devote it to paras or extra, whatever that is. And so you're not pinned in, because I know some of this is based upon state and federal funding, which you can't guarantee. No different when Sheila Wood presents the budget to this board and she has a key summary page and she puts in there what her assumptions are. She talks about enrollment, she talks about increases in compensation, she talks about the level of staffing. And just because you're going to go from 6.9 million, if you hit the assessed value, it's not just 9.9 million coming in, it's going to be over $13 million.
Peter, if I could, a point of clarification, the levy current would be the 6.9, and then the LEA brings it up to a total of about 10 million.
Okay.
So the total, your total here, you said is correct, but it'd be about 10 million to about 13.5 million. So there would be an increase.
Yeah, and so I'm talking about whatever that delta is,
Right.
and its programs needed. I'm talking about, again, taking off what Mr. Kevin said, Ben's not here, but he talked about some pretty cool stuff. Maybe that's what we're talking about. The other thing is, and when you look at the pie chart, and I know there's been a discussion over the group about deferred maintenance and not getting a situation where we've gotten in the past, and hey, we want to start putting more money, and I realize that this, the pie chart that's up above, what we're talking about here, and I'm not as nimble in your system, but anyway, part of that, and I know it comes out of the greater budget because this is a small percentage, part of that money that you guys are gonna designate, you know, hey, we want this to go to the CapEx. I can't tell from this pie chart going into the future, the table that's below, in terms of like, well, what is the plan? And maybe you don't have any, but you certainly have a range. Hey, you know, we think if this levy passes, and if we get the LEA in addition, instead of allocating ballpark about $1 million, $1.5 million in the past, maybe we can do $1.5 million to $2 million. So it brings a little meat to the bone in terms of, hey, taxpayer, this is what we plan on doing. We're gonna ballpark higher, again, 10 to 15, a few paras here and there. We're gonna set aside some money for, you know, additional dollars for deferred maintenance. So we don't get in a situation like we had in the past where we're applying CapEx monies from excess monies or asking for it from the community, because we realize the portfolio value of all of our facilities. We know we need to set aside money. So I think just be helpful to the community to say, hey, we think this levy is really important. We can reinstitute some programs that we had to cut back when we didn't reach the assessed value. And by the way, this is the way we're going to do it. So it's the incremental, you know, ballpark 6.99. Because if you look over the 4 years with the LEA, that's an additional $11.5 million over the 4-year period just on the LEA if we reach the assessed value. So I just think it would just be helpful as a taxpayer to show with you know, it doesn't have to be picture perfect. You can put all the caveats in the world in it. You know, this is assuming this level of inflation. We're assuming we're going to get this, you know, consistent funding from the state and federal government, because we know those things are unknowns. So that's, you know, just taking off from last time I spoke and then some of the comments that Mr. Kemper had brought up. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Last call. All right, thank you for your comments. That was item 10, public comments on discussion items. That is now closed. We will move on to item 11 on the agenda, action items. There are some approval of travel requests, marching band, JROTC, and boys basketball. And then we have approval of resolutions. So let's start with action item A, approval of travel requests. Any discussion, any questions about any of those? Or anyone like to make a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the travel request.
All right, we have a motion to approve the travel request for the 3 items. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have the approval of resolutions. So we should take these one at a time, I guess. The first one, B1, certification of 2026 excess property taxes. Resolution number 25-10-782. Any questions or discussion, any more detail anyone want to offer on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve that resolution.
I move to approve resolution 25-10-782.
Thank you, Mr. Thorner. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have resolution number 25-10-783, cancellation of outstanding warrants. Again, any discussion by anyone or any further questions? If not, would someone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 25-10-783.
All right, we have a motion. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next, let's see.
Items arising.
Items arising, thank you. Anything new from anybody? Anything in particular anyone wants to bring up? All right, next we'll go on to item 13, reports, the enrollment report, safety report, travel log report. Again, anybody care to add anything? That's all been in the package. Dr. Finch, anything you'd like to elaborate on in any of that?
Well, just nice to see that enrollment was actually up from October in comparison to September, so that's really nice to see.
All right. There's no further comments, questions, or discussion on item 13. We'll move on to item 14, the superintendent's report. Again, that's in your package. Dr. Finch, anything you would like to add to that? Excuse me, sir.
Well, I just shared that we were able to make a connection in our region with David Maestas, who's the Senior Legislative Assistant for U.S. Representative Dan Newhouse. I had a chance to be on a Zoom with Mr. Maestas. He's actually a former teacher, so I really felt like he understood our situation and the importance of the federal funding that we do receive here in West Valley, and he assured us that Representative Newhouse was an advocate for the federal funding, and also it was nice to get Mr. Maestas' contact information so that we can contact him directly. And there were some issues last summer on concerns about federal funding that might not be released. It eventually was released, but it's really nice to know that we have a contact now in Representative Newhouse's office that we can have a direct line of communication with. So appreciate him taking the time to Zoom with us. It was myself and a couple other superintendents from the region, and just really appreciate making that connection.
All right, thank you, Dr. Finch. You know what, before we get there, can I back up just a little bit? Items arising here, I'm sorry. I just want to make a note. I don't know if we'll see Mr. Thorner again. I hope we will before the next.
I got a whole month to go.
You got a whole month to go. All right, I guess we'll say that.
We'll just strike that.
We'll strike that.
I mean, unless you want me to be gone for the last month of my term.
No early vacations, sir. No early vacations. Okay, well then we'll wait. We'll go on to item 15, board reports, board development.
I have
Anybody?
one.
Yes.
I have one. Earlier today, I called Dr. Finch about, as you may know, I drive my son to school most every morning, and we drive up here to the high school, and my route takes me along Summit View, and it's essentially at the time where I pass many school buses, or I'm driving behind, and our bus drivers are awesome, just very careful. But we're at the point of the year, particularly on the secondary route, where it's dark out. And I called Dr. Finch, and this has been a trend that I've been seeing as I've been taking my son to school, that it would be really nice if we could partner, our transportation department could partner with local law enforcement on some public service announcements through our social media channels and other outlets, and potentially some law enforcement presence rather on our major arterials, because I saw just this morning 2 illegal passings while the red lights were flashing on Summit View. And to the and in the theme of safety, as careful as our bus drivers are, it would be a horrifying thing to have an accident associated with that. So I don't know if there's anything that we can do with YSO and the Yakima Police Department, along with transportation, to kind of aid our community in responsible driving as it pertains to school buses. One of the things that administration has always done very well is they let us know anytime we have a lockdown, anytime we have a bus accident, which doesn't happen very often, which is a credit to transportation and our bus drivers. My heart stops when I get those emails. And thankfully, things are going to happen. Bus accidents are going to happen, but if we can have some increased awareness, I shared that with Dr. Finch this morning, and I don't expect him to have any answers for what we're going to do about that, but I raised that this morning to him.
Thank you.
Appreciate his consideration.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that comment. Anyone else?
It's good.
All right, that's the last item on the agenda. We will adjourn tonight's meeting at 8:43 p.m. Again, it's Tuesday, October 28th. Thank you, everybody, for attending tonight. Don't take off unless, do we have anything for everyone to sign here?
I think so. There's a purple there.
Okay. start down here.
Thanks, sir.
Start going in the last 10 minutes.
Bill Samet,